Today on ANN, in Brazil, Adventist students donate hair to help restore the self-esteem of women battling cancer. In Jamaica, a film festival breaks myths and connects young people with biblical truths. In the United States, physics students use music and dice to teach quantum concepts to local schools. 3 days to find food, 5 days to build a church. See how faith reached a remote village in Papua New Guinea. See it now on ANN. Students from Southern Adventist University in the U.S. are making quantum science more accessible to local school children through creative tools like music and paper dice. With hands-on activities, they bridge the gap between abstract theory and real-world understanding.
During the 2024-25 academic year, the Southern Adventist University Physics Club introduced key concepts of quantum information science and technology to students at 3 local schools. Through interactive lessons, such as using guitars to demonstrate quantization and superposition, and paper dice to illustrate quantum superposition, the club made complex quantum principles engaging and accessible for middle and high school students. The Outreach Initiative, supported by an Outreach Award from the National Society of Physics students, aimed to inspire future interest and support workforce development in the growing fields of quantum computing and networking. These efforts align with the United Nations designation of 2025 as the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology. The program not only inspired curiosity among young learners, but also enhanced the university students' skills in science communication and public engagement. Encouraged by the success, the Physics Club plans to expand its outreach activities in the next school year.
In Brazil, a hair donation campaign unites students, teachers, and families from an Adventist school in a shared commitment to service and compassion. The initiative produces wigs that help restore the self-esteem and confidence of women undergoing cancer treatment.
Students from Boa Vista Adventist School in Roraima, northern Brazil, participated in the Strands of Hope project, a hair donation campaign launched in 2016 that has since mobilized women of all ages in an inspiring act of solidarity. This year's edition collected 30 hair donations from teachers, students, and mothers within the Adventist school community. The young donors enthusiastically expressed their joy as they reflected on the significance of their participation.
It means I'll see many happy women, right? With our hair.
It was great to be able to donate alongside my friends.
According to the principal, this is the school's second time participating in an initiative like this.
We have a project. This is the second edition of the initiative. Last year, we collect hair strands from students, staff, and mothers. We then donated these strands to help create wigs.
This year, the event also received the support of a local beauty salon, whose owner wholeheartedly embraced the cause.
When Brother Sandro reached out to me last year, I fully embraced the cause. This year, we're taking it even further. We're committed to seeing this through to the end of the year because we owe it to those who truly need these hair.
All donations are sent to the Women's Humanitarian Support Center, an organization dedicated to assisting women diagnosed with cancer. Beyond collecting hair, the project fosters empathy and compassion among students, core values of the Adventist educational philosophy. This initiative not only reinforces the commitment to academic excellence, but also to nurturing conscientious, compassionate citizens dedicated to the well-being of others.
According to UNESCO, over 129 million girls worldwide are out of school. In Southeast Asia, cultural norms, poverty, early marriage, and conflict continue to hinder girls' access to education. In response to these challenges, the Seventh-day Adventist Church in this region has launched a scholarship drive to support young girls in Adventist schools.
To expand this effort, the Women's Ministries Department of the Southern Asia-Pacific Territory has proposed increasing women's devotional book sales to boost scholarship funding and expand the number of beneficiaries in 2025 and beyond. Half of the sales proceeds go to the fund. Over the past 4 years, many young girls have benefited from these scholarships. In 2024, 117 girls received financial assistance, allowing them to continue their education in an environment based on Christian values and spiritual growth. This initiative aligns with the Adventist Church's holistic mission, combining education, evangelism, and social upliftment to empower the next generation through knowledge and faith.
In the South Pacific, hundreds of volunteers built a church in a remote village with no previous Adventist presence and served the community with essential supplies and practical training.
In Papua New Guinea, the village of Regal, an isolated community where residents must travel up to 3 days to access basic goods, welcomed more than 300 volunteers who spent a week providing both spiritual and practical support through community service. Under the theme, Jesus is All I Need, the initiative marked the first time an Adventist church was established in the area. Built in just 5 days, the church was part of the Papua New Guinea for Christ campaign, funded by the Adventist Church in the South Pacific region. The church was officially inaugurated by Pastor Andrew Opus, president of the New Britain, New Ireland mission. The land for the church, and for a future pastor's house, was donated by the village chief, Herman Seneng, who, along with his family and clan, committed to joining the Adventist Church. They attended the first Sabbath service with the volunteer team at their camp. Beyond constructing the church, volunteers engaged in community outreach through health education, life skills training, and infrastructure development. 6 improved and ventilated pit toilets were built to serve the village, school, and aid post. Volunteers also distributed over 300 care packages filled with essential items such as soap, cooking oil, and clothing. The mission concluded with 1 baptism, and 6 more individuals expressed their desire to be baptized in the future.
In Jamaica, Adventist hosts first film festival focused on faith and community. The event used short films to clarify Seventh-day Adventist doctrines, dispel myths, and engage new audiences with timeless truths.
In Montego Bay, Jamaica, the Seventh-day Adventist Church held its first ever film festival and symposium, designed to spotlight the church's commitment to health, education, community outreach, and the proclamation of the 3 angels' message of Revelation 14. Nigel Koch, the event's main organizer, said the program focused on making biblical truths relatable, especially for youth. From 61 submissions, 21 entries were chosen in 3 categories: music and animation, short mobile films, and public service announcements. The short film Dead Yard by Shortwood Adventist Church won top honors for its thoughtful depiction of the state of the dead, challenging common misconceptions and reaffirming biblical doctrine. Plans are underway to make the festival an annual event, expand categories, and use film more broadly as a tool for evangelism. Koch encouraged participants to keep using their God-given talents to be beacons of hope in a world in need.
Torrential rains have flooded large areas of eastern Australia, with rivers overflowing their banks and roads submerged, leaving thousands of people stranded. It is the highest rainfall recorded in the New South Wales region in 100 years. Due to the crisis, a team of 30 Adventist Community Services volunteers traveled to the mid-north coast to assist communities affected by the floods.
The volunteers were divided into 3 teams to support operations in some of the areas hardest hit by the heavy rains. The initiative was launched following urgent requests from pastors in flood-affected regions. Traveling in a convoy of 6 vehicles, the volunteers brought donated supplies, including shovels, stretchers, diapers, food, and water. According to the latest updates from the State Emergency Service, floodwaters are gradually receding across much of New South Wales, particularly in the mid-north coast and Hunter regions. However, many communities remain isolated, and recovery efforts are only just beginning. Adventist churches in Kempsey and Terry have been actively involved from the start of the crisis, preparing food hampers, distributing essential supplies, and leading local cleanup teams. The Sanitarium Health Food Company has also contributed to the relief effort by donating 7 pallets of Weet-Bix, Up and Go, and So Good products. These will be delivered to churches in Taree, Huachope, and Kempsey. The volunteers emphasize the importance of being present not only in good times, but also in difficult moments, reflecting the Adventist Church as a community that loves, cares, and shows up when it matters most.
Now, we head deep into the Ecuadorian Amazon, where the Adventist Church is preparing to reach over 60 remote indigenous communities.
The Adventist gospel has made its way to the heart of the jungle, right here in the campus community. This location will serve as the central hub to connect with over 60 communities in the province of Pastaza.
We have ambitious dreams and plans to create a missionary training center right here on campus. This center will not only train local brothers, but also welcome missionaries from our churches across the northern Ecuadorian mission who are eager to embark on a missionary adventure. Together, we aim to share the gospel with over 60 communities surrounding the Bobanaza River.
Nationalities, Quechua, Shuar, and many more await you. Caleb Mission.
A life of purpose and a legacy that endures, sharing the good news of the gospel with the world. Nearly a year after his passing, ANN pays tribute to Marcio Basso Gomez, one of the program's early contributors. A dedicated communicator with a deep passion for the mission, his influence continues to be a foundational part of this journey.
Marcio was born in Mogi das Cruzes, Brazil in 1977. From an early age, he dedicated his life to serving God with purpose. He pursued a degree in journalism, inspired by his love for communication and his deep desire to proclaim the gospel of hope to all people. Throughout his career, Marcio served the Adventist Church, becoming a leader in various areas, both in Brazil and beyond. In 2007, he joined Hope Channel Brazil, where he poured his heart into work as a journalist in radio and television for over 7 years.
Today, you will learn about the political and religious implications of this fact in light of history and the Bible. The special Rome Between the Cross and the Sword begins now. Marcio Basso Gomez from St. Peter's Square, Vatican City.
In 2014, Marcio began collaborating with the communications department of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church, dedicating himself to the production of a weekly 6-minute program that shared the good news, initially broadcast in Portuguese and Spanish.
It was here that it all began. On November 11th, 1620, the Mayflower ship docked here in Plymouth, Massachusetts, with 102 pilgrims from England. They were fleeing religious persecution. Their descendants established Protestantism here in North America, from which the Seventh-day Adventist Church emerged.
As with all meaningful endeavors, there were many challenges along the way. But Marcio's determined and persistent spirit led him not to give up on his mission to communicate hope.
Today, ANN is in Cape Verde to tell the story of this country, which is one of the youngest in the world. We will also talk about a project that in recent years has promoted the reconnection of thousands of people with Christ.
What started as a brief report has since grown into a half-hour program that continues to inspire and uplift thousands of people across the globe. Marcio was nearing the completion of his theology degree when he was diagnosed with a degenerative disease, which eventually led him to rest in July 2024. His family, friends, and countless individuals touched by his life continue to cherish the hope of reunion at the glorious second coming of Christ. Revelation 14:13 said, "Blessed are the dead who died in the Lord from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, they will rest from their labor, for their deeds will follow them." And truly, Marcio's work and legacy live on in every message of hope, in every life impacted, and in every story yet to be told.
They have the same hope in their hearts. Jesus will return soon.
In the countryside of Sao Paulo, Brazil, a publishing house that started without its own press and with modest print runs is now marking 125 years, producing more than one book every second. The Brazilian Publishing House, or CPB, is now one of the largest Christian printing operations in the world.
What do 5 billion printed pages and 38 million books a year have in common? They all come from the same publishing house that began with improvised equipment, and now, 125 years later, is still printing more than paper. It's printing purpose.
This mission started in 1900, at a time when we lacked the tools to print our own materials. Despite that, we launched our first periodical, The Herald of Truth. Over a century of dedication, hard work, and most importantly, unwavering faith has transformed the CPB into a thriving, innovative, and mission-driven organization.
The Brazilian Publishing House was born out of the need to communicate with a church still in its early days. At the time, Brazil had just 26 Adventist congregations. Today, there are nearly 20,000, and it all began with a few pages, printed by hand. Each month, about 640 tons of paper run through CPB's presses. Some days, it feels like an assembly line for ideas. In 2024 alone, the publishing house surpassed 5.2 billion printed pages. Over the last 5 years, the total has topped 25.5 billion, including books, magazines, Bibles, school materials, and devotional content. All of it printed in the city of Tatuí and delivered to schools, churches, bookstores, and individual readers. Here, the paper never stops. It's turned into literature that's meant to transform lives. In addition to missionary books, CPB also prints the materials that support the day-to-day life of the church. More than 800,000 Bible study guides every quarter, 3 million a year, plus around 3.5 million magazines for all ages and audiences.
We also produce the Book of Books. For years, we have printed over 750,000 copies of the Holy Bible right here. We also offer materials designed to inspire and support the study of the Scripture.
In education, CPB supplies more than 700 Adventist schools across Brazil with textbooks, children's literature, and teaching materials. That adds up to around 300,000 students, enough to fill Brazil's Maracana Stadium 3 times over, and all of them using books printed in the same facility. CPB provides content that has been translated into more than 200 languages and dialects by Adventist publishers around the world. In recent years, technology has also become part of the equation. Today, CPB content reaches homes and classrooms through apps, e-commerce, digital learning platforms, and even trilingual systems used across South America. In a digital world, print still has its place. Behind it all, more than 600 professionals keep the operation running across 9 strategic departments. While many talk, this place prints. And behind every book is the belief that what's printed can change a thought, an idea, even a life path. Not every book changes a life, but the ones that do change it for good. That's what happened with Paulo Santos, a construction worker. Back in 2000, during a renovation in the state of Piauí, he found an old copy of The Life of Jesus forgotten in an attic and kept it. 20 years later, he chose to be baptized. The location he picked? The very publishing house that had printed the book. Over the past 10 years, CPB has printed more than 180 million missionary books. In 2024, that number reached the historic mark of 200 million. To mark its 125th anniversary, more than 300 motorcyclists hit the streets to hand out 14,000 missionary books free of charge. A simple gesture, but one that reflects what happens there every single day. Content that reaches across Brazil and far beyond. According to the president of the Brazilian Publishing House, Pastor Wilson Garcia, the operation remains committed to its mission of printing to save. In the end, What drives this machine isn't just paper or ink. It's the belief that some pages still change everything 5 billion times a year, and counting.
An Austrian mega production is making waves online. Kingdom Come, a documentary series, blends real history, biblical prophecy, and deep questions. The idea? To understand the present through everything that's already been written and maybe forgotten.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. MDS, we have ignition, we have a liftoff.
Roll program is in on time. Vehicle response is normal. Very smooth flight, very, very small attitude disturbance.
The series opens with a countdown and ends with a challenge. Is the world we live in really that new? Kingdom Come is produced by the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Austria. But this isn't a sermon. It's an invitation to rethink the past and question what history told us to believe. Across 16 short episodes, released weekly on YouTube, the series links ancient empires to systems that still shape the world today. One of its most striking claims? That the Roman Empire never really fell. It just changed form and continues to influence governments, religions, and centers of power.
In a sense, you could say that the Roman Empire never truly fell, and that we, as modern Europeans, are essentially the Romans of today.
The narrative weaves together verified history and prophecies from the books of Daniel and Revelation. But this isn't about doomsday. It's about power, choice, and what happens when we ignore the lessons of the past. In one of its most symbolic scenes, Earth is shown as a tiny speck of dust floating in a sunbeam, a visual reminder of how fragile everything really is, even our greatest empires.
Consider this point once more. Over there is our home. That's us. It's where everyone you love resides, everyone you know, and everyone you've ever heard of. Every young couple in love, every moralist, every builder and destroyer of our civilization, every saint and sinner throughout our history. They all lived on that tiny grain of sand floating in a sunbeam.
Kingdom Come is visually powerful, historically grounded, and spiritually thought-provoking. It's streaming now on YouTube with English subtitles. Maybe it's just a series, or maybe it's a new way of seeing history.
With more than 1.4 billion people, India is the most populous country in the world. Yet millions still lack access to education, clean water, and religious freedom. In remote states, even children fleeing civil war in neighboring Myanmar are searching for shelter and a future. In this reality, Maranatha Volunteers International is on the ground, providing structure and dignity where the basics are still out of reach.
Maranatha Volunteers International has maintained a concerted effort in India for more than 25 years, providing church buildings, clean water, and educational facilities. And the trend continues in 2025. 3 churches are currently under construction in the states of Tamil Nadu and Meghalaya. Maranatha's water well team is maintaining existing wells across the country and drilling in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Tripura, and Mizoram. They've drilled 14 wells so far this year. Maranatha's largest project in India of 2025 is the expansion of Pine Hill Adventist Academy. Work is underway on a large classroom building called an Elementary Education Center, or EEC. Crews have completed the structure's foundation and frame and begun laying its brick walls. Pine Hill serves 350 students, grades kindergarten through 10. 35 of these children are refugees from the civil war in neighboring Myanmar. The EEC will include 10 classrooms surrounding a large auditorium. This additional learning space will allow the school to enroll hundreds more students, giving more kids a quality Christian education. Maranatha Volunteers International is a supporting ministry of the Seventh-day Adventist Church that mobilizes volunteers to build urgently needed structures around the world. Maranatha's big push for mission trips in India began in 1998 when the organization opened permanent offices in the country. Since then, Maranatha has steadily worked with the Seventh-day Adventist Church in India to complete more than 3,000 projects.
That's it for this edition of ANN. To learn more about the Seventh-day Adventist Church, visit Adventist.org. And for more stories from around the world, go to Adventist.news. To see more stories like these, visit ANN.news. And now, we close with good news from the Bible. James 2:22 says, "You see that his faith and his actions were working together, and his faith was made complete by what he did." Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, same time, right here on ANN.